What's up, guys? It's Wolverine, that's Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, Brian Cage, and you're watching True Hill Heat. Who better? Nobody.
Rob Van Dam, listen to True Hill Heat. Pow.
Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Hill Heat. Yeah!
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our WWE King and Queen of the Ring preview, breaking down this Saturday's big show from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So you know we gotta bring in the big guest, the big special guest to be with me to talk about the huge show. He is the King of the Ring over at Sportskeeda Wrestling. You see him on the WrestleBin channel. You'll see him on the main channel. You'll see him on all the other platforms. He is the face of Sportskeeda Wrestling, one of my favorite people over in that realm. He is the one and only Kev Kellam. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Sid. Hell of an intro. Putting Sportskeeda. Well, I'm gonna do my own offshoot. When I'm gonna do my own offshoot.
Sports Kevin.
Sports Kevin. It's so easy. It writes itself.
Word. They already got the initials for you and everything. You're
we got a lot to discuss here today. This is not just another WWE weekend. We got AEW on Sunday. We got NBA TV rights that just dropped. Is that official, or is that just the news?
Yeah, that is official with ESPN, NBC, and Amazon getting the NBA starting in 2025. So one last season over on WBD, TNT, one last season of Inside the NBA. So yeah, there's plenty of news and stuff to talk about with AEW Double or Nothing on Sunday. But we are here to talk about the King and Queen of the Ring from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. This Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time is the start time. Kev, how the hell are you doing, and how excited are you for this Saturday show?
The thing I like about these shows is it shows how much media has changed. Like I'm a person of a certain age where the pay-per-view was Sunday night, and you had to get together with people. And if you didn't get it on Sunday night, I would skip wrestling for almost a week and a half because WWE would churn out those VHS tapes and have them at a Blockbuster within a week and a half. So I would be on this loop where I would watch wrestling and the King of the Ring would come up. And I remember the first King of the Ring, my dad would not order on pay-per-view, would never order anything on pay-per-view. So I always had to watch things on like a week and a half long delay. And then I would watch all of the wrestling. My brother would tape it for me. And then I would finally get the VHS tape. And I would watch all of the Superstars and all of this after watching no wrestling for 2 weeks. And I know I bring this up, and this seems like such a normal thing. Boom, it's 2 clicks. I can watch it on my phone while going somewhere and hopping into my buddy's apartment where he's already watching it. I can literally just, all right, I watched, okay, we're cool, on the next screen. And there's the seamless transition of media. And the fact that you can do this in Saudi Arabia, which I don't think you can say all the socio-political things about Saudi Arabia and the different issues with them. These shows always feel like a big deal. They always feel bigger than just another pay-per-view. I'm not saying it's WrestleMania, but they do feel like they're separate from everything else. And WWE becoming more international kind of puts us in that same category. In terms of me as someone who watches this all the time and follows it, it feels different when they're in Saudi Arabia, but it's starting to feel like a very unique audience that has a different song to sing than an audience here in the United States. We saw it with Backlash, which the number one thing on that show is the crowd. You know, we're going to see it when they go to Germany in the summer, when they go back to Scotland. These are fun shows. And the appeal of it, I even think for a casual fan is, wow, that crowd's different. You know, like that's a different energy. And say whatever you want about the money that WWE gets in Saudi Arabia. It's a different conversation. It's worth having. Crowds love it. They're going to pop for this. They're going to see something consequential. The tournament build of this has been a lot better than I think people thought it was going to be on paper. And I'm not saying it's great, but this has been one of those like TV tournament things that WWE's done where I'm like, even the people that lost have something going on. You know, like even the people that aren't in this everybody has something going on. And I don't mean to use Vince Russo's words against him. He said many times when he was producing television, WWE and WCW, bro, everybody's got to have something, right? And he hates tournaments. But everybody in this has something. Jade Cargill, they did a schmoz to get her out of it, right? She's done. She gets a moment with her daughter on television that makes her look more over than she's been with these $1 million entrances or anything like that. And Nia Jax gets to look like a total badass bully who makes fun of someone's daughter to their face on network television. And the kid gets I just eat it up. That's wrestling, baby. I loved it. I was like, this is good. And also, you know, Jay can go, but we're seeing how they're positioning her, where she's not going to be put into deep water to, you know, she looks like $1 million. Is she wrestling like $1 million? That's to be debated. I'm not saying she's not great or anything like that. But I love the producing of that match and how it was shot and everything was done. There's so many things that like Triple H's team has done that WWE used to do that's just redialed back in, and it just feels right. Everything, even the stuff that feels bad, doesn't feel that bad, you know? And I like where the tournament's going, and I do feel like it's going to elevate somebody in this process too.
And we've come a long way from like 2018 when they first started doing the Saudi Arabia shows, where they were kind of like outliers. They were like house shows that they presented as pay-per-views that weren't really connected to what was going on. Now it's very much connected and a part of like the year-long, what WWE wants to do. And you also remind me that this is the return of a traditional WWE show, because it's been branded King and Queen of the Ring. I haven't had that kind of connection of, oh man, I remember the days of watching the King of the Ring pay-per-view. But you reminded me of that, and that, yeah, King of the Ring was a big show. It was like the start of the summer for
us. It was the Royal Rumble and SummerSlam.
It was right there. Yeah, exactly. It was what set up like the big matchups at SummerSlam. I go back to like 1994 when Owen Hart wins the King of the Ring and he goes on to face his brother Brett inside the steel cage at SummerSlam. One of the very first pay-per-views I remember. I was in Florida with my family and my cousins, and we ordered SummerSlam, and I had to explain to everybody, yeah, Owen won the King of the Ring. That's why he's getting the title shot at Brett. And I was a big Owen Hart fan at that time. So you get the nostalgia.
That show is a big deal to me too. Well. I went to SummerSlam in 1994. I was there.
It was in Chicago. Yes.
It was the first thing ever at the United Center. Ever. They didn't do anything else. Like before the Bulls, the Hawks got to be in there. And this is Jordan too. So before Jordan got to open up this big arena that he was going to sell out all the time, they had that. I'm adjusting the camera. Sorry. They had that show. And I went with my brother, and we spent the whole summer building up this. I had summer school. My mom was like, why don't you go to SummerSlam if you have to go to summer school? And my oldest brother, Bob, said, I'll bring you. I'll put him in the station wagon. We'll go. And he went with his friends, and they pre-gamed in the parking lot. It was the first time I was around drinking teenagers. And we had the ball, dude. The greatest time. Like, I knew as like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid watching that I was like, I'm never not going to like wrestling. If I don't love it, I'm never not going to like it. Not going to like it. Macho Man right by me doing like a stand-up shot, and I got to like touch him on his shoulder and like, oh, it was the best. And then the Owen versus Brett match was great. But I mean, come on, good memories.
Yeah. I remember Leslie Nielsen building up the Undertaker versus Undertaker matchup during that time. So yes, we got the nostalgia feels from what was that 30 years ago? 30 years ago this year. But WWE King and Queen of the Ring, we are here to preview, give you our predictions for this Saturday show. We appreciate y'all if you are joining us live. We appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show that appreciation back the simplest way possible. It's free to just drop the thumbs up on this video if you're watching us on YouTube.
It costs you nothing.
Costs you nothing. If you're watching us on Facebook, you could drop a thumbs up, a heart emoji, a laugh emoji, an angry emoji. However, WWE King and Queen of the Ring makes you feel, you could do it with those emotes. If you're watching us on Twitter, you could drop a heart and retweet the video. Also, you could share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family. And remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here as we are pushing towards 15,000 subscribers here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Always appreciate the support. But most of all, we love to interact with all of you. So sound off in the live chat. We love to highlight your comments. So we'll highlight as many as we can. But of course, if you're feeling generous and you want to give back to what we do here, you can send a super chat donation that guarantees your comment is highlighted on screen. And it goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So we always appreciate the support. We got G Loke in the chat who says, what it do at True Hill Heat? I'm ready for some good news. We also got Eric Isaacs, who's already putting his predictions, his picks for this Saturday show. He says, my King and Queen of the Ring picks are King Gunther, Queen Nia, Cody, and Logan goes no contest, and Becky and Sammy retains. We got Josh who says King of the Ring, Gunther, Queen of the Ring, Nia, IC, Sammy, Women's Becky, Men's title, Cody. With Gunther, I just hope he wins clean and not because of bloodline interference, but I'm guessing they'll get involved. We'll definitely ask about that for sure. We got Frantic World in the chat with us today. We also got Big Man Dog who says, should they formally make it so that the King of the Ring winners always fight for the title at SummerSlam, or is that too constraining? I think it is too constraining, and it's more or less they're going back to the traditional way. Like we've had in the past, 1994, Owen wins the King of the Ring and then goes on to face Brett at SummerSlam. Mabel won in 1995 and goes on to face Diesel at SummerSlam. Neither one of those times did they say the winner of the King of the Ring was going to get the title shot. That's just what they did. That's what they did. It's informal. There's actually only been twice that ever in the King of the Ring tournament where the winner, they knew ahead of time, was going to be getting a shot at the title. And that's King Booker in 2006 when he wins the King of the Ring and then goes on to verse Rey Mysterio at Great American Bash. And then Brock Lesnar in 2002 winning the King of the Ring and then going on to beat The Rock at SummerSlam 2002.
You just got to make it feel prestigious and tie into the history, which they did a lot. They did that. I think Xavier Woods the last king they had, because they don't do them every year
in 2021.
And they tried to make that wasn't fantastic, but they put a real effort into trying to make that feel like a bigger deal, and that was something he wanted. And then when they smashed the crown in Rome and beat him up, they tried to make that a scene. Was it long-term effective? No, short-term effective. So the idea is to all right, do you have a guy walk around with the king? Do you have someone say they're the king for a while? You've had a lot of this. Zelina Vega had it, and then her luster has been lost from that. But doesn't mean she didn't have a good little pop and TV time after it. You can't just have these people win. The thing is, everyone I think is going to win these is going to have TV time already after this, and this just kind of makes them feel more gravitas in terms of sense. It gives a little bit more gravity to what they're going to do coming out of this. And it shows that WWE doesn't just treat, especially in the streaming age where media never stops. They're not just playing on the cycle of WrestleMania is the big season, and then we just do the rest to give a TV contract. No, everything matters as much as it can matter. And everything can't matter the most, but I really think it's you don't need it because it is a little too constrained, because then it's too much like you do it with Chamber already. Everyone's Chamber gets to go to Mania. Everyone's Royal Rumble gets to go to this. It kind of becomes a little too formulaic. I think if you're the king, you should be able to come out and have a couple of things. Go to the GM and be like, I won this tournament, so I want a world title shot, and I want this. I want to be able to call the shots for a while. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And you have money in the bank, so you kind of have all of these different established institution storyline wise. Doing them with the King of the Ring just feels like you're doing another version of that. That doesn't feel as important. Whereas this is more, I'm on someone else's level. I've been elevated in this and keeping it vague also allows the writers to do more creative things with it year to year. You don't have to do the same thing with it every year.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%. We got our good brother Jose Gonzalez in the chat saying, what's going on, broskies? Much love to y'all. And Power Driver Finisher pointing out that Xavier Woods' crown was the Burger King crown because when Roman stomped on it, it looked like a paper bag. I remember that.
Hey, Sid, does my mic sound better? I had the webcam mic on. I didn't know until someone told me.
Yes. Yeah, Jose helping us out in the chat. Thank you, Jose.
Jose G, what's up, broski? I sound like a real broadcaster.
He's a broadcast journalist.
I'm a broadcast journalist with my confidant Sid Puller from New York City. We go to the East Coast. You always have to do the context where they would say where someone was.
he's
Larry King, Oklahoma City. You're on the line.
Reporting from New York City.
From New York City.
So, Kev, how we start off these pay-per-view previews, we go 0 to 10. What is your buzz level for this Saturday show? I am at a solid 7 for myself. What about you?
I would say I'm about a 7 too. But I think WWE set up a good pattern with these shows that aren't a WrestleMania or SummerSlam, the big four, of just exceeding expectations. I'm saying this sincerely, and some people have called me, you're just a shill for them. I don't think WWE's put out an overall top to bottom, like bad thumbs down pay-per-view in more than a year and a half. Like more than a year and a half. There's been some shows that are certainly better than others, right? But if there is the less is more concept that they've applied where there's only a handful of matches, when you have so much depth, makes so many fans get to the table for these big shows. And they just follow online. They don't watch the TV shows. They just follow YouTube. You know those type of fans too, right?
Yeah.
And they just tune in. They're like, oh, where's this guy? Or I like this person. And how do they not have Randy Orton on there? You always hear those type of things. This is a show, though, where you're like, well, it's a tournament. Those guys got eliminated. This is a tournament. There's some consequence here too. So that kind of like dials it in a little bit more. And you're going to get a winner. All right. Hopefully not wishy-washy. And the whole Logan Paul factor. So that's something for the casual people to tune in and see. And the Logan Paul experiment clearly has worked. And the money they've given him has worked. And anyone who's a detractor has already been proven wrong now a handful of times, myself included, that this guy can go. And in the right situations, he can be he's probably one of the best celebrities they've ever brought in to do something. And in terms of a guy who respects wrestling, takes it seriously, has taken to it very well. There are some missing years with this guy. I think that you think he would have been a top level guy now, and now he's the go-to utility player in terms of this. I've never described him as a utility player, and now he's being utilized for these. This is the second time they've gone to Saudi Arabia and used him in a main event, and it worked. It worked the first time, But yeah, so it has a lot of appeal. I'm going to give it a solid 7, and I think it's going to exceed those expectations. Someone's going to have a banger match on this show. There's been too many tournament matches that have been really good, they get a lot more time than I thought. Ricochet, I believe in Ricochet and Dragunov was really good. Jay and Gunther got like 15 minutes on TV. So I'm looking forward to how this plays out in terms of a final here.
Yes, and we got Jeddah, Saudi Arabia is going to be the home for the first time for Friday Night SmackDown on Friday. So we're going to actually start there because we got to determine who's going to be facing our winners over on the Raw side of the bracket for both the King.
They're taping that earlier in the day, and then it airs.
Yes.
It airs here.
Yes,
is that how it's working?
Yeah, it's going to air at a regular time on Fox in the US. But if you're in the UK, you can watch it live. It's going to be available.
See, that's another thing about these Saturday afternoon shows overseas is I hear from so many fans overseas that love this stuff. And so when that news came out that UFC was going to,
I'm actually going to be in the UK this weekend.
Great!
I'm starting my excursion in the UK, and I'm going to be very pleasant. That it starts at 6:00 in the UK.
Oh, the New York dojo is sending you overseas to have an excursion.
No. I'm on this excursion, a family excursion.
Oh, good man. Where are you going? London?
What just off of like I think it's about 2 hours away
That's great.
from London. Yeah, we have a place out there, so
Hell, oh,
that's where
you
we're
have,
staying.
the
Yes.
estate.
Yeah.
We're going to the family
The
estate.
the UK estate. But like I said, we got to determine who's going to face our Queen of the Ring winner from the Raw side of the bracket. It was Lyra Valkyria picking up a win in a damn good matchup against Io
What a
Sky
surprise, too.
on
What a
Monday
real
Night Raw.
surprise. Just got called up from
I mean,
NXT.
I really thought that they were gonna. I thought when I looked at the bracket on the Raw side, I was like, Lyra's the one that you want to give the push to. So I was very glad to see her get the win over Io Sky, who's been tearing it up in the Queen of the Ring tournament. I think she's been the MVP on the female side, Io Sky, but Lyra getting the win to get to the finals. But now we got to determine who she's gonna face as Friday Night SmackDown. You got one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Bianca Belair, going against the dominant force that is Nia Jax. Kev, who you got here, Bianca or Nia?
Well, it's hard to determine with Nia because she's just not like most girls. And with Bianca, she's always going to be over. I think she's essentially somebody who can take a loss and people will still love her. They've proven that. I know some people are like, oh, they're burying her. No, they're not burying her. You don't get on TV for 20 minutes on a 2-hour TV show and get buried. That's not how that works. You get buried in 30 seconds and then no one knows. The people forget that you're there. So stop abusing that word. And she has the tag team title situation. I know there was the Tiffany Stratton push and pull thing and all the controversy, and there was some shakeup there. Every tournament has this. There's an injury, someone gets pulled. There was a bunch of injuries in this, right? So
a whole lot
of injuries.
Asuka, Bobby Lashley, like damn, it was a lot.
Drew was kind of like softly written out of it so they could just keep with him and Punk going. So I mean, like there was a lot of like shakeup, and this was another one where I thought, oh, they could get Bianca out of there and really use this to like rocket push Lyra, which is the way I kind of think this is going. But I do think Nia beating Bianca, and I mean doing it clean, the same way Nia got to beat up on Becky before WrestleMania and feel like a threat, even though Nia didn't get a big, huge featured thing at WrestleMania. You know, that's another thing. Yeah. She's one of those names that was kind of like 2 days of WrestleMania. She did not have a huge spotlight there. But then once we were back,
she didn't have a match at all.
No, but I mean, once we were back on Raw and SmackDown, she's a player. And I'm not saying that Nia is the best wrestler in the world, but I think she's one of the best, and I will say this, crowd response players. She is listening all the time. There are things that she does in the ring. Is she fast? No. Is she the most dynamic performer in the ring? No. But is she the one who gets a reaction and heat and knows when to pause and knows when to frame to the camera? Everyone says, oh, she injures people and all these different things. She's a big bad lady who beats up on smaller women. That's the deal. It's kind of there. You can see it. All right. It's all there. She's female Vader, dude. That's what she is. And I mean that in the most complimentary sense. And you get in the ring with her, you can get hurt. Okay. Like that's part of it. And guess what? Everyone's like, I don't like her. She shouldn't be there. There's this. Guess what? You were never supposed to like her to begin with. That's the idea. You know what I mean? That's the idea. Nia beats up on Bianca. I mean, pummels her. Just relentlessly pummels her. Jade's there trying to almost throw in the towel. Get a little bit of tension between Bianca and Jade there. Hey, I'm looking out for you, girl. I don't want you getting hurt. You're going to get beat up in there. Nia's bad. Oh, she's bad because she beat you up in front of your daughter. Boom, heat, done, right? And that's a longer term build and a longer term thing to build to. I think we're getting Bianca and Jade well before WrestleMania, by the way. I think that there's too much TV time to not give you that big match, all right? You've seen this. WWE's been having these matches where it's like, that could be on pay-per-view. That could be on pay-per-view. They've been doing them on TV. True. So I think this is going to be some type of build to a Jade Bianca issue. And Nia is going to walk into that final with Lyra Valkyrie in Jeddah on Saturday.
1000% agree with you. I have been a huge fan of Nia Jax for a long time, but ever since her return to WWE, I feel like she has been like a missing link for the women's division. The women's division needed kind of a monster heel
Yep.
that they can build around that is not likable, because they kind of had the monster heel build for Rhea Ripley, but Rhea Ripley was just so cool that she became like a babyface and a tweener for a while. Nia can stay on that heel side and be the dominant heel, which answered the question. And I got to give it up to the creative people on social media. They already did this graphic for me, so I have it here for our preview. Lyra Valkyria.
Did this leak out? Did this get out already?
No. So I think someone made this, and I found this on
Okay.
social media, and I was like, "Hey, this is my pick. I don't know if it's gonna be Kev's pick, but hey, we have a graphic anyway."
Now
Lyra
here's
Valkyria.
the thing. I'll challenge you. I know you're already going to ask me. Does Nia get to win this, or does Lyra get to win this? I know who I want to win, but I know who I think is going to win.
I want Nia Jax to win. I don't
Why
think
do you
Nia's
want, why do
gonna
you want
get-
Nia? Why do you want Nia?
I don't think Nia's going to get another run with one of the women's world championships, because, right now you got Becky Lynch over on the Raw side, and it looks like Liv Morgan's going to be next in line for that championship. And then when Rhea Ripley comes back, she's going to be in play over there. On the SmackDown side, yeah, she is kind of probably the lead option to be in a feud with Bayley, especially going into one of these international shows with Clash at the Castle and Money in the Bank coming up in Toronto.
We got Bash in Berlin in July too. We got that coming.
Yeah, but I think the title match between Nia and Bayley is going to happen in one of these next shows. You got to give her the big win to establish her as the number one contender, and I think that her winning the Queen of the Ring parlays perfectly into Clash at the Castle, Bayley versus Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax, because I want to see them in front of that Scotland crowd, because I think that's the only way we're going to replicate the reaction that the first Bayley and Nia matchup from all the way back at NXT TakeOver London almost a decade ago got. I think
Huge
that Nia
heat.
getting the win here will set that up perfectly. Who do you got? Lyra and Nia.
Who I want, honestly, the ire in me, the call of the great people of Ireland is I want Lyra Valkyrie. I think everyone talks about how the Polynesian portion of WWE has been so well represented. We've had a great level of diverse characters being elevated. I think that's important. I think European characters being treated not just like foils to someone else is important. Drew does not feel like a goofish thing. Finn Balor re-signing is a great thing. And me, just as an Irish kid from the south side of Chicago, I'm rooting for Lyra Valkyrie. Got to interview her at WrestleMania. She's got a good head on her shoulders, but I just don't think it's time. I really just don't think it's the time for her. And I do think giving somebody something long-term to chase, sometimes you losing early on in your career is the best thing for your career.
Yeah.
Like how much more satisfying was Cody this year because he got robbed the year before? Like it, and that's a different scale. Obviously, it's weighted way differently. But I do think this is Lyra can take it. And I do think there's some more things to be added to her act to give her a little bit more dimension, kind of catch with more of the casual fan. And I think Lyra doesn't need this right now. What she needs is the chase. Lyra needs the chase.
I actually think that they are setting the seeds for both of these women. I think are going to be in title matches coming up at Clash at the Castle. I think Nia gets the win to set up her and Bayley, but I also think that it's not a coincidence that Lyra has been so connected into the Women's World Championship feud that I think they might do Liv, Becky, and Lyra at Clash at the Castle too, since it's in Scotland.
Also with Lyra, another thing is, I want to say this is for me talking to my friends who I was filming some comedy stuff last night. And there was somebody who said they watch, but they only watch casual fans. Everyone can watch their way. They go on and they just want to watch the women. That's all they want to watch. They just want to find out the women. And they were asking me about this. And they were asking me about this. Who's the girl with the feathers? Like she just didn't who's the girl with the feathers? Is she Scottish or Irish? I said she's Irish. Her name is Lyra. And she's, Nia's going to beat her up. Like she knew Nia. She didn't know Lyra.
Yeah.
Right. And so she was a very, very casual fan. And I do think with Lyra, it's still such a new character. She's only been on the main roster a little while,
For her, you mentioned the big matches she's already had with names already. You know what I mean? It's exposure. They're giving her the rub. Her being there is her winning already. Nia's already won a title at a Mania. She's already done these things. Nia gets this so you can re-elevate a 6-man player, a 6-woman player off the bench who then becomes more dangerous to everyone else. And it isn't just doing Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch again. Nia Jax versus... No, it's Queen Nia. It's this Nia. It's this Nia. I have this. I can say no. You have to chase me and I can take your title. Yeah.
And not only does it set up Nia versus, Bailey, but there's another queen who's going to be on SmackDown pretty soon, who seems to be recovering at a fast pace, that you can also set up that match for the future as well. And I'm talking about, of course, Queen Charlotte Flair.
Woo! Woo!
Woo!
Those little ones.
Let's talk about the King of the Ring, though, Kev, because on the Raw side, you mentioned it earlier, Gunther defeated Jey Uso on Raw to set himself up for the finals this Saturday. But on Friday Night SmackDown, this is one that I will say that WWE telegraphed OD with Randy Orton's first promo ahead of his matchup with AJ Styles. I was like, you pretty much told us this is what it's going to come down to on the SmackDown side, but I am happy that we got here as a continuation of the Bloodline storyline with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Randy Orton, who beat AJ Styles and Carmelo Hayes, will versus Tama Tonga, who defeated Angelo Dawkins and LA Knight. This should be a physical affair, but who do you think wins this one to face Gunther?
Everyone thinks that this is Tama's match to win, and that they just want to have as much of a Bloodline presence on this show. I've heard a lot of people say that. I'm surprised by that. I think this is Randy Orton's match to win. And I think it's Randy Orton's match to win because I think specifically for the audience in Saudi Arabia, the names that they've seen for 20 or 30 years are the names that are going to mean more. And that's no shot at Tama. Tama hasn't really taken much of a loss in anything he's done in WWE. Only been there a little while. He got to debut and beat people up. He got to be on a pay-per-view opener that was really, really good, and got to do all of these different things. And also look very, very dominant and get a ton of TV time as a character. He does not feel out of place. That's a wonderful thing about the Bloodline dynasty and that entire family together is if Jacob Fatu is going to come into WWE, he's going to feel like $1 million. I just did a video about this for Sportskeeda, and it was one of the best scripts I've ever gotten where I read it. And I was like, this all makes so much sense. And I was watching clips of them. I was like, Fatu's going to come in and people are going to be amazed by this guy because they're already going to know he's in the family. And WWE's done such a good job of making the family feel like if they're from that family, they are good. You can buy it's modern day Von Erichs, all right? It's like reverse Von Erichs, right? And they're bad dudes, and they're mean, and they are rough around the edges. But Tama can take the loss. I think Tama losing to a crafty, wiser, smarter, cunning Randy Orton, who can now control the voices, right, is so much more compelling. And it creates Orton versus Gunther. Just people talking about that. You need a match in the modern day of social media. You need something that gets people talking right after TV. You saw them doing this with the QR codes and all the Bray Wyatt stuff. We saw, boom. All right, now they're talking. They're megaphone. We got to watch it. Hey, I know you don't like watching WWE with me, but Randy Orton's going to be taking on the big German dude. Just saying that to your friend who's on the fringe of it, out of the bubble. So you got to do something that pops the bubble. Orton versus Gunther is wild. It's a wild match on paper, and you can do it with 1 day's notice and maybe even do a rematch down the line in the summer and do some wild stuff there too. Orton beats Tama.
I agree with you. I think that the other option was going to be if Jay beat Gunther, they could have done Jay versus Tama Tonga.
Yeah,
and I did not like that idea. I hated that idea because that's using that. Yeah. That's using the King of the Ring as a vehicle for the Bloodline storyline that does not need the King of the Ring to be used as a tool. It would be cool, but it doesn't need the King of the Ring.
No, it doesn't need it.
They brought it back is to make it a prestigious honor. That's why they haven't attached a title shot to winning the King of the Ring, because the honor, the thing you're winning, is being the King of the Ring. And the way you establish that back is by having main stars, top stars battling for it. And I think there was no other better final than the one that we're going to get. And thanks once again to the wonderful people of social media. They already made up the graphic for me. Randy Orton one-on-one.
It looks so official.
Gunther. It does. With Gunther in the King of the Ring finals. I am looking forward to this match so much. When Randy Orton returned at the end of last year, one of the main matches I said I wanted to see from Orton now that he's back was him versus Gunther. So I'm looking forward to this one on Saturday. But I got the King of the Ring General, Gunther, to win the King of the Ring.
And also, Randy Orton, does he need it? No. And does Gunther need it? Yes. Gunther lost the Intercontinental title. The entire idea of him is he's this evil character on high. And once you get to him, you're in this whole elevated plane. He's Darth Vader. You don't just walk up to Darth Vader and have a fight. You have to fight your way to Darth Vader. And then Darth Vader has to humble you and cut off your hand. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the way this works. You know what I mean? And we can get Return of the Viper and other stuff down the line. And you can have Orton think, oh man, did I come back? And I can go, but I can't. Can I go at that top level? And that's what Gunther's going to tell you. Like, oh no, you can wrestle. But you're not Randy anymore. You're a player coach now. You know what I mean? Like. And Gunther is a guy who doesn't have to say a whole lot. He just is it. He has an Andre the Giant type vibe to him, where he doesn't have to say a whole lot. He's just he's so physically intimidating, and I love it. And also, this sets up Gunther for a lot of other bigger things down the summer. If Gunther wins this, you got your Bash in Berlin main event right there. Him versus Cody writes itself.
Oh man, I hope that's where the direction they are going, because him and Cody had great chemistry.
But you're gonna have the Austrian German versus the blue blood blonde haired white American.
You know that just works. That just works. But
there's gonna be these like Red Skull Captain America memes just popping up with the posters and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. And this is a good point.
Yes,
as well.
Cody, you have come into the trap.
This is also a good...
Tell him to go meet me backstage. Everyone's gonna be doing Hogan Heroes impressions. So, yeah.
Good point from Big Man Don saying Nia and Gunther are good winners too, because they both could pull off some version of a King Queen gimmick that actually works. Yeah, it's not too far out the realm of Gunther, the Ring General, now being the King of the Ring, and Nia, who's been this dominant force, now saying that she's the Queen of the Ring. So these characters work with the role that they're going to be pegged with.
Yeah, and it's predictable isn't bad. I think too many times with people that watch and follow wrestling so much, they're like, it's predictable, because they condition you, unfortunately, to have an unfortunate swerve. It was a swerve to swerve. It was a swerve so we could swerve and we can keep the storyline going. And it took WWE, I think, a while to adapt to social media things, the way that people watch things in clip form sometimes, and they do watch this chunk. It's non-linear. So they really have to have every single little dot connected. And sometimes connecting every dot is connecting the ones that make the most sense, that are surface level. Now it's, how do we deliver on that? What sauce do we put on that? How do we make it feel special? Randy Orton losing to Gunther may feel predictable, but if they make you care, and for 2.5 seconds make you think that Randy Orton can beat Gunther, and then he kicks out, that's it. Job done. Yeah. It doesn't. That's when it's like clears the air, and you forget. Oh, I'm watching two men pretend to fight. I'm watching a fight. Right. That's what everybody wants. And
Randy Orton is Teflon. Like, I've heard the argument that Orton should win the King of the Ring because he's one of like the big challengers for Cody coming up later this year. He does not need that. All Orton needs to do is turn heel, RKO Cody, and he can get a title shot.
I'm your favorite wrestler. Remember us when we tagged together? I'm your favorite wrestler. Let me shake your hand. Bam, RKO. Done. That's it. And I'm evil Randy Orton again. You know what I mean? Like, and he can do that. You know, he can cash that in like the Money in the Bank, you know, character wise, and no one else can, you know, in his role. So yeah, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it.
So now let's talk about the title matches on this Saturday's card. First up, we got for the WWE Women's World Championship, Becky Lynch defends against Liv Morgan. Becky won the championship after Rhea Ripley suffered a shoulder injury at the hands of Liv Morgan on the Raw after WrestleMania. It was Becky that won a Battle Royal, last eliminating Liv Morgan to become the Women's World Champion. But it was Liv Morgan who's basically been calling out that Becky has been an obstacle of her career. She has not been able to beat Becky Lynch, and we've been seeing a new side of Liv Morgan since her revenge tour started and she injured Rhea Ripley. She's also been hanging out suspiciously in the background of certain scenes with members of the Judgment Day, whether it was this past Monday arriving at the building in the same car as Finn Balor or walking out a similar room from Dominic Mysterio. So my question is twofold here, Kev. Who wins, and do you see the Judgment Day getting involved in any way here?
I love the trashiness of this. I love how much the drooling from the side of their mouth, simpiest of fans who don't have Rhea Ripley on TV anymore to follow have been like, this is awful what WWE did. I was like, she got injured. Then they went with Becky, and Becky doesn't need it. These are the same fans that loved Becky like 5 years ago. So now Becky wins it, and Becky doesn't deserve it. And Becky could sign a new contract. So maybe you want to make Becky Lynch a happy person. And then you have Liv Morgan, who is getting wedged in this. And on paper, you're like, oh, this is just a messy time for an injury, right? You wanted to keep the Rhea Ripley train going. But you have all those fans that still care about Rhea Ripley. And I find it so strong of WWE to say, Liv has the chip on her shoulder. Here's the established player. Here's the prize. Let's recalibrate everything. Let's cut out the noise a little bit and make it about the prize. But if you're here for the soap opera drama backstage, we got a whole bunch of that for you because the dots connect. Liv said, I'm not just going to injure you and take your title away from you. I'm going to take everything away from you, which includes all of your closest confidants. I'm going to take your brothers. I'm going to take your boy. I'm going to take your family. All right? You took the tag team title from me, and that put me on the shelf, and I came back, and I went back on the shelf. Everyone who's like saying like Liv is so indignant, she has all of the motivation to ruin another woman's life as a wrestling character. And now she has to look at another person who's just been established above her, who takes the spots. No. It's kind of like, all right, you don't have the same person. You're trying to just put somebody else in that role narratively. But I think Judgment Day gets involved. If Dominic's backstage at this show, even with his arm in a sling, and he helps Becky Lynch, he helps Liv Morgan win this title. This has shenanigans written all over it. This is a time where I'm like, I want an F finish. I don't want a dusty finish. I want the most schmozziest of schmozzes. I want Liv coming out of there saying like, I feel great. And she wins it with no credibility of valiancy whatsoever. I want her getting booed in that whatever like surfer costume they're gonna force the women to wear in Saudi Arabia. All right. Yeah. I want that for Liv Morgan because I think her time as being a fan favorite came and went with almost like a Dolph Ziggler type thing where they just didn't. I mean, she had the title, but did she really get to like run with it? She got to beat Ronda. That was cool, but it's always like stop and start with her. Now, I think the injury actually kind of helps her because Rhea is the bigger star and Rhea can't be pivoted around, you know? And I do think Becky Lynch is somebody who's smart. She went to NXT and understood I got to make somebody. I can win the title, but I got to make somebody. And I think she's going to want to try and make Liv here.
I agree with you 100%. I know there is the argument a lot of people have been making about it may
Heels
be
up on
too
this show,
early.
dude. All the heels are winning
It's
big
too,
on the show.
yeah, this is true. That it may be too early for Becky to drop the title. The reason that you put the title on Becky is because she's gonna be a transitional champion and she's not gonna be hurt by it. It's not
No.
too soon. The only way you actually get some investment into a Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch storyline is Liv finally beating Becky for this championship and change the dynamic. Becky being this champion who once again beats Liv, there's no more room, honestly, for this story to go. Like, Liv can get her heat back and attack Becky to get another shot, but that seems very like 2010s WWE, more than the WWE that is now kind of having more layered storytelling. And I think Liv cheating to win, whether it's with the Judgment Day, whether it's with Dominic Mysterio, or whether it's her like putting her feet on the ropes or using the title in a weird way, or a cheating way to get the win. I think Liv has to win the championship here for us fans that are not Becky Lynch or Liv Morgan fans to be invested in this story. The story needs a change of dynamic, and having Becky as the champion is not the dynamic that is going to get anybody interested in. And I would say out of all the matches on the card for Saturday, this is the one that has not had the best build. It's had very much, it's been like the 7th, 8th most important thing on Monday Night Raw. And the reason for that is that, honestly, I'll be honest with you, and I know Becky Lynch fans are going to get mad, but Becky as champion is boring. We've been there. We've done that. We need something.
I did get the reasoning and like choosing her though. Like the reasoning choosing her.
No, 100%. It makes sense because Liv winning a battle royal does nothing for her. No. Liv winning this championship and showing more of a heel side to finally beat Becky, that does something for her.
Yeah. All right. Can I read a comment here? I love this comment. I just saw it. Pile driver finish. All right. No one kicks up a pile driver anymore. That's right. We got to protect the finish. He goes, hope Liv wins so Liv fans can be more obnoxious than usual, and everyone who isn't a fan can be pissed. I love when people are just flat out like, I want to do this, so somebody I don't know is angry on the internet.
That's right. Exactly. And then, Big Bear Dog kind of echoing what I'm saying. He was like, the feud is over if Becky wins now, because Becky has firmly established that she has never lost to Liv Morgan. What is the point of continuing the rivalry if Becky wins again?
Yeah. Good point.
And that's also a good point about the Becky re-signing, but I think there's no question Becky re-signs with WWE.
Where you want to get into that conversation?
We could go into that.
How much can I say? So I've been talking to some people who are familiar with the entertainment industry, and the way WWE is structured now with TKO in terms of their corporate structure, the way they negotiate deals is completely different. There was the head of talent relations who was let go, like I think either right before WrestleMania or right around WrestleMania season. If you're in that type of position, you get let go from during something happened. Like you really aggravated some people. But that was also in the middle of WWE doing a bunch of restructuring. There were a lot of people who were with WWE for like 20, 30 years. One of their top guys who does the seat filler producing, which is like all right, we're waiting for people who bought 4 fifth row seats to Raw. They're not here yet. We're going to bring you down from the 200 section. Like those are guys that were with WWE for years. The restructuring, it's unfortunate, right? So all that's happening, they've restructured also how they kind of talk to talent about contracts. And this company is owned by Endeavor, one of the biggest talent agencies in the world, and a company that's transformed itself, but they know how to talk to big name talent and give them what they want and make them comfortable. And this is still a WWE that's on the road 52 weeks a year. I think the way a talent like a Becky Lynch is going to be signed to long-term deals moving forward is not the type of deals we've seen wrestlers have in the past, let alone a woman. And I mean, Ronda Rousey got special treatment because she's Ronda Rousey. Brock Lesnar gets special treatment because he's Brock Lesnar. And then the rest, right? Like where they get to wrestle kind of when they want. Roman Reigns got that, right? He got to be that, but was on TV plenty. And the storyline with him was plenty. But in terms of actually making your dates and like being on the road all the time, that kind of stopped in 2021 for him, right?
Yeah.
With Becky Lynch, I think they kind of put her in the same position. And I don't think she's going to be the only person who gets that type of treatment. And I do think there's other people that are going to be, you're going to see less, but they're going to be treated like more. And the fact that WWE now, yeah, it's live event business, but it's a premium live event business. The money they make on these bigger shows is the most important one. The house shows are up, but does Becky Lynch need to be filling her bump card as a 35-plus-year-old woman with as a mother and married? No, I think, and I also think this isn't me being, this is me talking to women I know that have been in WWE. You take your life differently in mid-30s. You start thinking like, all right, am I going to be able to have a child at this point? These different things. And you start to talk about it. I'm talking to women who've been in WWE. Like once you get past 38, 36 in WWE, you know, your time is almost done. There's very few women that get to wrestle into that time frame. But now WWE is different. You know, Natalia, her contract's up. What are they going to do with her? How are they going to treat her? A lot of people think she'll stay and have some role in WWE. Speculation. But the way that WWE is kind of treating talent is very, very different. And I think it's more lucrative for people to stay with WWE because of all of the things you can do with Endeavor that aren't WWE too. She wants to go and do movies. Yeah, she's now connected with one of the biggest entertainment global powerhouses in the world that isn't a production studio. So now you get to really push yourself into different projects and stuff like that. They have the Netflix deal.
Ori Emanuel will get her in the door for a
dude. I've heard a bunch of different things about WWE that's bigger being on the Netflix deal in terms of little things. You're like, they're going to do what? They're going to do that. They're going to do this. And like a bunch of different things that are going to get pitched in the next year that are being like formalized now. A bunch of people that worked with WWE in the past are kind of putting some pitches together for them. So there's some stuff for talent that won't be in the ring all the time. And then you still get to see them come and be in the ring all the time. And, you know, something like doing a WWE movie used to be like, oh, yeah, you get a WWE movie. That's a cool little fun thing you get to do for 3 weeks, Miz, right? And we used to laugh at it. But now, what if those movies are bigger deals? You know, what if the Undertaker New Day spooky haunted house choose your own adventure thing they did? That was fun. Came and went. Well, what if we do 1 or 2 of those every year? You know, like there's with streaming, it kind of opens up the possibilities. You're not tied to Monday nights at 7 p.m. You know, like there's a lot of possibilities with those different things. And also doing it on Netflix opens you up to so many more people. So I think Becky Lynch doing something cool on Netflix, she's somebody in those conversations that I wouldn't be surprised if something big happens for her. Yeah.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if we get the news of the Becky Lynch re-signing very, very soon. But the match, I think that it got the best build, especially.
You're going to make a play, though, right? I mean, you're going to try.
Of course, if you're Tony Khan, of course. But the match, I think, for this Saturday that had got the best build or final build on Monday's show was the Intercontinental Championship matchup, as Sami Zayn will defend the Intercontinental Championship against Bronson Reed and Chad Gable. Of course, Sami won the Intercontinental Championship, ending the 666-day reign of Gunther at WrestleMania 40. He then defended the title for the first time against Chad Gable in his hometown of Montreal in a fantastic matchup where Sami got the win, but Gable did not take the loss very lightly, German suplexing Sami out of his wife's hands. But at the same time, Bronson Reed established himself as a contender for the Intercontinental Championship. So it is a professional rivalry with Bronson Reed, who wants his gold, but it's a personal rivalry with Chad Gable, who has been absolutely exceptional since turning heel and berating the members of the Alpha Academy, Akira Tozawa, Otis, and Maxine Dupree, rallying the fans behind Otis, who helped Chad Gable get the victory over Sami Zayn on Monday's Raw. Otis will be in Saudi Arabia in Chad Gable's corner. Will he help Gable finally win his Intercontinental Championship, or will Sami Zayn retain, or will the body that is Bronson Reed get his biggest payday to date? What have you thought about the build, and who do you think wins, Kev?
God damn. I just got to say, Sid, you really just tied it up in a bow right there. That was a real deep dish pizza you put together, man. There is such depth. This is personal. This is professional. This person's here. They're all here. Look who's here. Look what's on the line. You know, like I loved it. Sami Zayn's going to be
my pay-per-view previews are my attempts to try out for WWE The Bump. And
Did you write that down? Was that written down?
No. That's off the top of the dome. It's off the top of the dome.
Off the top of the dome. Look at you. Play the track again. Let's let him freestyle, dude. Like, come on. I just loved it. Sami Zayn wins this. You can't have all the heels go over. I've already laid it out. You look at the card, you do the predictions. This is what happens when you do the previews. Sami Zayn is also going to be over like Rover in Saudi Arabia. All right. The people of Saudi Arabia, they love the brothers of the faith, man. And he will come out there and they will give him a moment and he will speak to the crowd in Arabic and they'll be like, oh, and they're going to be on board and he's going to be their guy. All right. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right. Nationalism is one of the core tenets of professional wrestling. All right. It is one of the maintained points. like it will be maintained here. Chad Gable he's one of those, he strikes me as like a Dolph Ziggler. I brought up Dolph Ziggler earlier. Like he's one of those guys like he's so good. He's so good at everything. But he's never had that one moment where you're like, oh, that's good. Like he's so good. They built a faction around him and he still doesn't have a belt. You know what I mean? Like he has a lot of TV time, deceptively has a lot of TV time. Still doesn't have a belt. Bronson Reed is a bigger deal for him, but I think he kind of gets the rub and gets to do some big bumps with Otis and stuff like that. And it's a big old mess, but Sami Zayn boots someone in the face and gets to be the valiant hero. And Gable gets really, really pissed at Otis and has a real moment with him. And maybe we get the, hey, I'm not going to take your crap, boss. But they haven't been building to that long enough. WWE wants to have those, I talk down to you moments, and then someone finally breaks and loses it. I think they kind of save that maybe for the stateside and television, because I think an audience that's been following that locally, regionally, would respond to a little bit more. I think this is more Sammy gets to have a great moment. Sammy had, I think, one of the best matches of WrestleMania. Cody got to have the moment, but you want to talk bell to bell, tell a story in a match. Sammy had that. Him and Gunther, the build to that at WrestleMania, people questioned it. But this build's been all right. But once they did the suplex out of your wife's hands, what? Everybody's mom and dad and kid are at ringside now, apparently, being used for all the cheap heat. Love it. I love family angles, dude. I want to see Jade's daughter and Sammy's wife get together, new tag team champs. That's what I'm talking about.
Khadijah's got the face. She's got the face to she's gonna be a
but could you see the smile on her face when she held her mom's hand? She's like, all right, this is my spot. Like she's like, oh, okay. Hi, Mom. What's going on? You're wrestling? Okay, all right. Here comes my line. Like, and it was kind of like, it reminded me a little bit of like Jimmy Fallon when he'd be on SNL. I'd be like, oh, this is my line. like that. But the fact that she immediately was like, no, she doesn't. My mom doesn't suck. I was like, yes, cornball dripping off the screen. B-movie drama. This is wrestling. Play the parts. Bump hits, dude. We don't have to hit grand slams. Let's get on base and move the needle, dude. I loved it. And I loved, and also Sammy's wife at WrestleMania was, she was the secret sauce. When he's whomping on Gunther's just whomping on him, and he's just talking crap. And they put that camera right there. They got all the shots, 6 different shots on this. All right. I loved it. I remember watching in the box. I was like, they're gonna cut to his wife. They cut to her early on, and there was like, they're gonna, like, key part. I was going to Emily May. I was like, his wife is gonna be involved in the finish. She didn't get like out of the apron. I thought she would get near the ring, but she didn't. But once she went like this, and it was like when Sami Zayn was getting whomped, she does the throat slice. I was like, he's done, dude. Like, what are you doing? Why are you saying that? This man is going to murder your husband right now because you just told him you were going to slash his throat. Then Sammy comes back. I loved it. I think you can tap into that. It is working class Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth type relationship. I love it. I think she is she going to be at the show this weekend? Did they say if she's going to be at the show?
Nah, I don't think so.
Oh man, I would love that.
Unfortunately, but I agree with you. I think that Sami Zayn retains here. He gets the win. I wouldn't have Chad Gable take the loss because I think there is still a bunch of legs in the Gable-Zayn rivalry for after, especially with Gable beating Sami Zayn on Monday on Raw. I think that kind of firms him up that he's going to get a title shot after this triple threat, and that's why I'm confused with Frantic.
He won the WWE Intercontinental. Did he win the WWE Intercontinental Eliminator match? Is that what he did? He won the Eliminator match.
He won the Eliminator match.
They're
stealing
stuff
right
from
now.
AEW, Sid. They stole it.
Frantic World. He did not take an L on TV. He still gets his title shot.
Yes.
Watch the product and or don't comment on it. I mean, what are you doing? But we got a bunch of people who also agree. Sammy retains. So yeah, we can't have all the heels winning, but Kev, will we have the heel winning in the main event of WWE King and Queen of the Ring? It's going to be not champion for championship. It's going to be champion versus champion, but for Undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes makes his second defense against United States champion Logan Paul. It was Logan Paul was named the number one contender by SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis 2 weeks ago. Cody thought that meant that it was going to be title for title until Logan Paul pulled the okie doke, pulling out the contract from his lawyer that only made it for Cody's title and not his, because he didn't agree to make it for the United States Championship. Cody has no problem with that, and he plans on beating Logan Paul and making sure this tourist to the wrestling business does not walk out with the most important prize in the WWE. Kev, who do you got here? Cody versus Logan. He called him a tourist. He called him a tourist in the wrestling business.
Well, apparently he has a lightning lane pass because he gets to skip in front of everybody else. Got it. Clip. There we go. Got your clip.
Clip it right there. Clip it right there.
Clip it. You better put that on Twitter. Clip it right there. Right there. There we go. Toss it up for me. I'm gonna dunk this shit right there. We go. Excuse me. I'm checking my cable bill to see if there's any okie doke clauses in it.
You know, you gotta check for that, man.
All right.
Check for those.
Yeah, I pay them, and then they come over to my house and watch TV. No, so I have a crazy take on this, and I'm not saying I want this to happen, but I really want to push. I did Rings and Rambles for Sportskeeda on Monday, and I did it last week. Just keep thinking to myself, what's the biggest headline you could get coming out of this show? What is the biggest headline? What's the biggest thing you could get people that didn't watch the show saying, like, oh boy, I got to start following WWE again? If they're a really casual fan.
The biggest headline would be Logan Paul beating Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed WWE Championship. But if that's their goal. I don't know if that's their goal, to have the most buzzworthy thing happen.
Just take it in. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen. I'm not saying I've talked to anyone who's telling me it's going to happen. But what's the biggest thing you could do? And how would it affect things moving forward? Now, do I think it's going to happen? I think Cody wins. I think there's maybe a schmozzy no contest finish. I don't know if the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that spends $50 million a show wants a schmozzy finish, right?
Yeah.
I also think they responded to Logan Paul when he went out there. They thought he was a cool guy. They boo him, but they thought he was cool, right? And I think that'll be a lot of the same. And I think this is a situation where if Cody lost, it would be jarring to everything he's built up. You lost to this guy? You know what I mean? Like, there's people in the locker room that are like, this guy? But this guy is the ultimate exception. Look, we said it earlier. I totally wouldn't mind Logan Paul winning, but Cody technically wins. I don't know about everyone else. The thing is, with Logan winning, how many more people will be talking about it? How many more people will be talking about WWE going into these things? If this was a few months ago, if just the show happened a few months ago, or maybe this was Backlash, and WWE is waiting to secure another big money deal, a TV contract. Every big money TV media deal is essentially locked in, besides those side ones and ones they're going to expand upon that they have further, right? Now the deals that you really have to make matter are live event deals, like these big location rights deals. And this Saudi Arabia deal is going to get expanded, and maybe they're going to get a Royal Rumble, maybe they get a Mania. So I do think they have to send fans home happy. So I think Cody wins. I think Cody wins. But the what if of this is the biggest what if I've ever thought of in wrestling. Logan Paul winning the WWE Championship. The heat would be nuclear. And I mean, robbing him. People would be like, WWE's lost their mind. I wish Vince was back. Someone's going to say that. I wish Vince McMahon was back. Triple H has lost his mind. What did they do? They screwed Cody. And that's the main point. You know what I mean? They're supposed to make you care about this. They're supposed to keep you on your toes. I'm not saying I want it to happen, but the what if is so intriguing to me, Sid. It really, really is. And this is a guy who's just the complete outlier. There's no rules that apply to him because he's already exceeded the expectations that were in the box for him coming in. Great return on investment. I hope WWE can keep him and have him do a handful of these big matches every year. I want to hate him.
Honestly,
I like booing him.
I think the move long term is Logan Paul, Mr. Money in the Bank, and going on to cash in to become a world champion. I think that there's just too much investment and it's just too good of a possibility. Him as a chicken shit heel champion only showing up when he wants to. It just makes all the sense in the world. And I will say that they I saw earlier, I think it was Josh who said that it takes some of the intrigue, not making it title for title. I think that there will be intrigue if this match, say they open the show with this matchup, because you have the Ring and Queen of the Ring finals. You can main event the show with
this is going on last. Gunther. They're not opening the show.
I don't know. But if they open the show with this, I think they can do this type of finish where Logan
if they do
wins, doesn't win the title. Like Logan wins by a count out or a disqualification. You're not going to do that type of finish if this match is the last match on the show.
No, because you want to send him home happy.
If it opens the show, I think that opens things up a little bit, and you can have Logan Paul win by count out, because I think that the chemistry that they've shown in these 2 weeks, I want to see more of it. It's like the total 180 from the very ice cold build that was AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. And of course, it didn't matter when the bell rang and that crowd in Leon France was going wild and they had an all-time great main event of Backlash, but the build up to it was very ice cold. This feels like the first real rivalry for Cody Rhodes, and it's only been 2 weeks, 3 weeks come this Friday that they built up to this matchup, that I wouldn't mind if they did a non-finish to lead to a rematch at Clash at the Castle.
And also what if then you do Cody wants that United States Championship match. All right, you got your shot. You know how it ended. Now I got a shot at you. That's something to do. And also Logan's a guy, you're not going to put him on house shows. He's going to be on TV. He's never wrestled on a Raw or SmackDown. He only does like physical angles. He'll get physical and do like an interview or a promo or something like that too. Another thing is just like, I never thought I would say I respect the guy. He's just a digital Gen Z carny, right? And I mean that in the right way. I don't mean that in a disingenuous way, because he's certainly been successful at it. But I like, there's so much time with him that I'm like, this guy's not even 30 yet, right? So I'm like, how are you not in wrestling a long time ago? You were built for this. Like when you see him, it's like he's built for it. And there's a lot of fun, intriguing things you can do with him. But I also think maybe WWE wants to get on the hype train, put a title on a Paul. You got Jake Paul versus, Mike Tyson on Netflix in July. There's some synergy there. You're going to do Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson as a huge attraction in an exhibition boxing match on Netflix, as Netflix kind of embraces live event programming, and maybe having one Paul brother with the WWE Championship next to the other Paul brother is a part of that too. So,
but see that. I'm going to go with
Cody's leaving Saudi Arabia with the championship. That's what I
think. Yeah. I'm going to go with Cody to retain, but I had a lot of fun talking about all the different options, all the different finishes and results we could get on Saturday. Thank you so much to everyone who joined joined us live here, who's watching us on demand. But most of all, thank you so much to Kellam. It's been great to have you back here on the channel talking about this Saturday's big show. But let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they can see all your great content across Sportskeeda Wrestling's all their great channels. Let the people know.
If you're already on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. Over 131,000 people subscribed already. We just dropped some great videos about Dolph Ziggler's career and the ups and downs of it. We did one about, if you don't know anything about Jacob Fatu, this is what you need to know about why he could be the guy who really does things to the bloodline that even Roman Reigns couldn't do. That's coming up. All those videos are available now. If you're on the audio side of things, we have the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube. All that we parlay into audio listening you can do as well. I'm busy in comedy with Roast Battle Chicago. We have a big show coming up this Sunday, Rosemont, Illinois. Hopping a skip away from the Allstate Arena. We're going to be at Zany's Comedy Club with Roast Battle Chicago, 7 p.m. on Sunday night. We also have a Patreon. You can watch our uncut shows for $5. If you enjoy Chappelle's show, you enjoy the new Cat Williams special, we have stuff, I think, at an independent level that is just as good. We're the indies of comedy, baby. Go check out rblchicago.com. #1 roast battle in the world. New York can suck it. LA can suck it. All right. We're #1, baby. There can only be #1. All right. All these other people talking shit when we're talking shit and doing shit. All right. So there we go. That's all the stuff I got to say. All the stuff I got to plug. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I'm on the air in Q101 in Chicago too. That too.
Let them know, Kev. Let them know. And you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. Best place to support us when we are not live here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. $3 a month gets you exclusive content, and you can help us out in the best way possible.
$3. That's a deal.
Just $3 a month. Come on. ProWrestlingTees.com, ForYourWear.com. Get your True Hill Heat merchandise and check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like Rated Raw Review number 21, Yeet to Sleep, as we talked about Monday Night Raw from this past Monday with myself and Rob Wilkins. And join us live here on Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, our WWE King and Queen of the Ring watch party hosted by Romeo. The gang from Around the Point will be here as well, so you can enjoy that. And I might pop in on that as well, because later on we got our King and the Queen of the Ring review on Saturday as well. And the flagship podcast, True Hill Heat, will be on Sunday this week because of King and Queen of the Ring. But for Kev Kellam, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. Thank you so much for joining us for our WWE King and Queen of the Ring preview. We are signing off until next time. Later, y'all.